you geeks. I've been stewing on this video for 6 months now, ever since Isaac Stewart said this in a live stream.
If you're familiar with the illustrator Gustave Doré, he did a lot of things like old books of the Inferno. He did Dante's Inferno.
Sando loves talking about how art begets art, so it's not hard to imagine the Divine Comedy held some inspiration for him. It certainly did for Tolkien. I held off on the slim chance that after Rhythm of War, I could shove F-Face into Satan's mouth. Comment below if you think that it was worth the wait. This video is also special because it comes with its own theme song.
Tell me where in time is Carmen Sandiego.
We're on the case and we're chasing them through infamy. I will, of course, abide by Dante's rules to place villains in hell. In their books, they must have died, fallen from grace. Cognitive shadows don't count because they still have free will. We're focusing on villains who died, unrepentant, believing whatever lies they told themselves to do terrible things. This video will contain spoilers for all the Cosmere books I've read. I'll go through them in relative order of release so you can skip the books you haven't read yet. Timestamps are in the description. Let's begin this journey. Elantris. Dilaf, of course. Where to put this unhinged, morally bankrupt monk? He could fit in so many of these pits. But I'm going with the imposters. Even before Elantrians cursed his beloved, Dilaf had already taken steps to infiltrate and destroy their culture. She thought I was the most handsome man she'd ever seen, even though my body was already twisted and deformed to fit the mold of an Aeroline. And it just went downhill from there. Taking on a false form to wreak havoc earns him a place in the 10th Malebolge, that is pit, in the 10th circle of hell, for the fraudulent.
You know, I don't think I'll ever get over how easily manipulated humans are.
Fortunately for this video, the 10th circle of fraud is multifaceted. This pit might be nothing more than a change of venue for Dilaf. Those here, such as Gianni Sicci, are struck with physical ailments to match their spiritual ones. Sicci has rabies. He goes raging, rending others, sinking his teeth into their necks and dragging them to the ground. So you know, typical Dilaf. Mistborn Final Empire. Rashek. The man who would be God. Even if he had good intentions, the road to hell is paved with such things. He belongs to the Simoniacs in the 3rd Malebolge of the 10th circle of hell, those who took that which belonged to God and extorted it for personal profit.
I have done what I set out to do. Acquire God.
In Rashek's case, he took preservation's religion and made it all about himself. I am God, he said. God cannot be overthrown. How many centuries must I prove myself before you idiot ska see the truth? How many of you must I kill? These rapacious ones who take things of God that ought to be the brides of righteousness and make themselves fornicate for gold and silver. Such people spend eternity with their heads in the ground and their feet on fire. In Rashek's case, he made the Church of Preservation debase itself for Atium. Ironic, if you think about it. Mistborn, Well of Ascension. Straff, though a truly despicable human being, his great flaw is quite shallow. Gluttony.
I'm hungry, lass. Can I eat the old man, please? He's big and fat.
Which is only the 3rd circle. He takes everything around him and devours it. The man nearly dies from a drug addiction. That's what happens when you're addicted to a drug, Straff, Amarantha whispered. When you get it, you feel better. When you don't get it, you die. Don't worry, even if his fault is shallow, his fate is still disgusting, getting ravaged eternally by Cerberus, who according to Dante is quite the glutton himself. His eyes are blood red, greasy black his beard. His belly bulges and his hands are claws. His talons tear and flay and rend the shades. When not being so destroyed, Strack gets to linger in mud. Lovely. Hero of Ages. A.T. I don't know enough about this vassal of Adonalsium to guess where Dante would put him. Even A.T., the bearer of ruin, had been a nice guy before the Shard took over. Ati was once a kind and generous man, and you saw what became of him. I will point out that killing Adonalsium probably was not good, but even a centurion who crucified Christ can be redeemed. Moreover, we don't know what kind of being Adonalsium was, so killing him might not have been too terrible. I'm not totally condemning AD yet, but he just tried to destroy a planet, and that cannot be overlooked.
I've killed it. Oh, everything I touch gets ruined.
I'm putting him in limbo for now. It's a very nice place, well lit, has grass. Certainly better than Roshar, and probably better than the Fey parts of Yolen, though utterly hopeless. They did not worship God in fitting ways. For these defects, and for no other evil, we are now lost and punished just with this. We have no hope, and yet we live in longing. We'll see what happens when Dragonsteel comes out. Dante puts virtuous pagans all the way into heaven in his comedy. There may be hope for AT yet. Warbreaker. Death, obviously. He dies trying to start a war and refuses redemption. That man saw and did terrible things, Denth said. I've tried Vasher. I've tried going back. But the darkness, it's inside. I can't escape it. My laughter has an edge to it. I can't forget. So where to put him? It's not precisely clear what he did during the Many War, but we see him betray Ravenna's trust and bring war to the Hallandren. And that's bad enough.
The deepest circle of hell is reserved for betrayers and mutineers.
So, into the icy ninth circle he goes, with all those who betrayed their people. If you're asked who else is there in ice, there lies Tebaldello, he who unlocked Fenza while it slept. This might be a stretch, since Denth technically wasn't a Hallandren, but if you've got a better spot for him, let me know down in the comments. Words of Radiance. This also includes some spoilers for Oathbringer. Sorry, blame Brando. Sadius. I hope it doesn't surprise anyone that I've thrown Sadius into this pit, but it may surprise you on which tier. He resides in the 8th Malabolgia of the 10th Circle of Hell, with those who counseled falsely in life.
Your leechcraft would have had me crawling on all fours like a beast.
They reside forever in their own personal flame, a fitting end for the man who advised Dalinar to burn the rift. The entire kingdom thinks us weak, Dalinar, Sadius whispered. We took too long to put this rebellion down. You have never listened to me before, but listen now. You want to prevent this sort of thing from happening again? You must punish them. Every one. Which is the exact same thing that landed Guido de Montefeltro in this Bolgia. Guido had advised Pope Boniface VIII to burn Palestrina to the ground after it had surrendered. Since you cleanse me of the sin that I must now fall into, Father, know that long promises and very brief fulfillments will bring a victory to your high throne. This was the overlap I noticed that inspired this video. It seems that Sando is pulling from the Divine Comedy for the Stormlight Archive at least. Technically, Sadius advised Dalinar to destroy the city after the city had betrayed him, not before, but Sadius went on to do and advise plenty more frauds, betraying Dalinar and advising the High Princes to do the same. Sadius, to his core, is a strategist. His deeds were not those of the lion, but of the fox. Oathbringer. Amaranth. With so much bloodshed in Oathbringer, it's odd that Amaram is the only named villain who bought it. He belongs in the first ring of the 7th Circle, those who took pleasure in committing violence against their neighbor.
They will call me Zhao the Conqueror, Zhao the Moonslayer, Zhao The Invincible!
He'll drown for eternity in a river of boiling blood. The blood he spilled with the likes of Alexander the once great and Attila, king of the Huns, the tyrants who plunged their hands in blood and plundering. Here they lament their ruthless crimes. Dante doesn't get a chance to talk to these men on account of them being covered up to their brows in blood. So I can't make too close a comparison. Amaran waged a pointless war for years in Alethkar, getting many men and children killed. Not to mention his crowning failure, slaughtering Kaladin's men. Your men died in the name of battle, so that the strongest man could have the weapon. Anyone would have done what I did. Thus he is resigned to forever boil in blind cupidity and insane anger, seeing only red for eternity. Good riddance. Rhythm of War. Reyes was not the villain I was expecting to put here, but I won't complain. Unlike Ati, Reyes was always malicious. Reyes was among the most loathsome, crafty, and dangerous individuals I had ever met. He bears the weight of God's own divine hatred, separated from the virtues that gave it context, and that is what he, unfortunately, wished to become. True Wit has a grudge against Reyes, but he in general is a good judge of character, and Frost even agrees with him. His power may have intended to kill the others, but Reyes chose that power, and he chose to pursue the true desolation, a petty war of revenge against Tanavast's ghost, when his power had bigger plans. And that is why Reyes failed.
And if you fall as Lucifer fell, you'll fall in flames.
Since he likes killing gods, Reyes belongs in the third ring of the seventh circle. Violence against God, cursed to lay face up on burning sands in a burning rain. Importantly for this crossover, Dante considers malevolent violence against any deity, even lesser ones, to be worthy of condemnation. Hence why Capanius, who cursed Jove, that is Zeus for you Grecophiles, ended up here. O Capanius, for your arrogance that is not quenched, you're punished all the more. No torture other than your own madness could offer pain enough to match your wrath. So, that's it. The final destination of all the dead Cosmere villains I've read. Who would you place differently? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you would like to see more. Your patronage is greatly appreciated.